The black SUVs arrived without sirens. No flashing lights. Just the low rumble of engines cutting through the quiet morning air. Camilla stood at her kitchen window, watching the vehicles roll to a stop in front of her modest townhouse. Her hands shook as she gripped the edge of the counter. She knew. Somehow, she already knew. 3 men in dark suits stepped out. Royal Guard. Their faces were stone. One of them glanced up at the window where she stood, and their eyes met for just a second. Then he looked away. That small gesture told her everything. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a warning. They were here for her son. Thomas was still asleep upstairs. 23 years old, brilliant, kind, and apparently tangled up in something she couldn't understand. The doorbell rang. The sound felt like thunder in her chest. Camilla's breath caught. She wanted to run upstairs, wake him, tell him to escape through the back window, but her feet wouldn't move. The bell rang again. Longer this time, she opened the door. The lead officer held up a badge and a document with the royal seal stamped in gold. His voice was calm, professional, cold. Camilla Hartwell, we have a warrant for the arrest of Thomas Hartwell. Step aside, please. Her voice cracked. What did he do? The officer didn't answer. 2 of them moved past her without waiting. Their boots echoed on the hardwood floors. She heard them climbing the stairs. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. A door opened upstairs. Shout. Then Thomas's voice, confused and scared. Ma'am, what's happening? She wanted to scream. She wanted to fight them. But all she could do was stand there, frozen, as they brought her son down the stairs. His wrists were already in cuffs. His eyes were wide, searching for hers. Ma'am, I didn't do anything, I swear. I don't know what this is about. The officer at the door finally spoke. Your son is being charged with conspiracy to distribute controlled substances. He's been linked to a network connected to several well-known dealers operating under royal jurisdiction. The words didn't make sense. Thomas didn't do drugs. He didn't even drink. He was studying architecture. He spent his nights drawing buildings and listening to music. This had to be a mistake. It had to be. If you're watching this story and want to see what happens next, make sure you're subscribed. This one gets intense. They led Thomas toward the door. He turned back one more time, his face pale. Ma'am, call someone, please. I didn't do this. And then he was gone. The SUVs pulled away. The street went quiet again. And Camilla stood alone in her doorway, the world collapsing around her. She didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. The holding facility was underground. Gray concrete walls, flickering fluorescent lights, and the smell of disinfectant mixed with fear. Thomas sat on a metal bench, still in the clothes he'd slept in. His mind raced. He kept replaying the officer's words. Conspiracy, distribution, dealers none of it made. Since he'd never dealt drugs, never even thought about it. Sure, he had friends, people from university, people from the neighborhood, but drug dealers? No, that wasn't his world. A guard appeared at the cell door. Hartwell, you've got a visitor. Thomas stood too fast. His mother. It had to be his mother. But when the guard led him into the small visitation room, it wasn't Camilla sitting behind the glass partition. It was a man in his 50s, sharp suit, silver hair slicked back. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Thomas sat down slowly. He picked up the phone on his side of the glass. The man did the same. Thomas Hartwell, the man said. His voice was smooth, almost friendly. My name is Victor Cross. I'm an attorney. Your mother hired me. I didn't do anything, Thomas said immediately. This is all a mistake. Victor leaned back in his chair. I believe you. But believing you and proving it are 2 different things. The Royal Guard doesn't arrest people without evidence. They have something on you. Do you know what that might be? Thomas shook his head. His hands were trembling. I don't know. I swear I go to class. I work part-time at a bookshop. I don't even know any dealers. Think carefully, Victor said. Have you been anywhere unusual recently? Met anyone new? Received any packages you weren't expecting? Thomas's mind went blank. He couldn't think. Everything felt like static. Then, slowly, something surfaced. A memory. 3 weeks ago. A friend from university, Marcus, had asked him to hold on to a bag. Just for a few days, Marcus said. It's nothing illegal. Just some stuff I can't keep at my flat right now. Thomas had said yes without thinking. He trusted Marcus. They'd known each other for 2 years. There was a bag, Thomas said quietly. A friend asked me to keep it, but he took it back after a week. I never opened it. Victor's expression didn't change, but his eyes sharpened. What was in it? I don't know. I never looked. Who was the friend? Marcus Hale. Victor wrote the name down. Do you know where Marcus is now? Thomas shook his head. I haven't seen him in a few days. He stopped coming to class. Victor set down his pen. He looked at Thomas for a long moment. Marcus Hale is one of the names on the Royal Guard's list. He's connected to a distribution ring that operates out of the city's east side. The guard believes you were part of it. Thomas felt the room tilt. His stomach dropped. No, I wasn't. I just held the bag. That's it. I didn't know what was in it. That's what we'll argue, Victor said. But you need to understand something, Thomas. Ignorance isn't a defense in these cases. If you were in possession of illegal substances, even unknowingly, the royal court can prosecute. And if Marcus named you, if he gave them your address, your phone number, anything that ties you to the network, you're in serious trouble. Thomas's breath came faster. His vision blurred. I didn't do anything wrong. Victor stood. I'm going to do everything I can, but you need to prepare yourself. This won't be easy. He hung up the phone and left. Thomas sat there alone, staring at the empty chair across from him. His life had just shattered, and he didn't even know how. Camilla didn't sleep that night. She sat at the kitchen table with a cold cup of tea in front of her, staring at the phone. Victor had called her earlier. He'd explained the situation. It's the bag. Marcus. The connection to the dealers. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry, but all she felt was a hollow, aching numbness. Thomas was a good boy. He'd always been a good boy. Quiet, thoughtful. He helped her with groceries. He called her every Sunday. He didn't lie. He didn't steal. And now he was. Locked in a cell because he'd done a favor for the wrong person. Her phone buzzed. A text message. Unknown number. Stop asking questions. If you want your son safe, stay quiet. Her blood ran cold. She read it again. Then again. Her hands shook so badly she almost dropped the phone. Who sent this? How did they get her number? She stood up, walked to the window, and looked out at the empty street. The streetlights flickered. A car passed slowly, its headlights cutting through the dark. She closed the curtains. The next morning, she went to the courthouse. The hearing was scheduled for 10 o'clock. She arrived early, sat on a hard wooden bench in the hallway, and waited. Other people passed by. Lawyers in expensive suits, families with red eyes and tired faces. Everyone looked like they were carrying the weight of the world. Victor appeared at 9:45. He sat down next to her. They're bringing Thomas up now. This is just a preliminary hearing. He'll present the charges. We'll enter a plea. That's it. Will I see him? Camilla asked. Yes, but only for a moment. She nodded. Her throat was tight. She couldn't speak anymore. Inside the courtroom, everything felt cold. The walls were dark wood. The royal crest hung above the judge's bench. Thomas was led in through a side door. He wore a gray jumpsuit. His eyes found hers immediately. She tried to smile, but her face wouldn't move. The judge entered. The charges were read aloud. Conspiracy to distribute. Possession with intent. Association with known criminals. Each word felt like a hammer. Thomas stood with his head down, his shoulders hunched. Victor entered a plea of not guilty. The judge set a trial date. 3 weeks, then it was over. Thomas was led away. Didn't look back this time. Camilla walked out of the courthouse in a daze. The sunlight felt too bright, the noise of the city too loud. She stood on the steps, trying to breathe, when a woman approached her. Mid-40s, sharp features, black coat, Mrs. Hartwell? Camilla turned. Yes. The woman glanced around, then leaned in close. My name is Elena. I know your son didn't do this, but you need to know something. Marcus Hale isn't the one who gave Thomas's name to the Royal Guard. Camilla's heart stopped. What? There's someone else? Someone close to the investigation? Someone who wanted Thomas arrested? Who Elena's eyes were dark? Serious? I can't say here. Meet me tomorrow. Noon. The old library on 5th Street. Come alone. Before Camilla could respond, Elena turned and disappeared into the crowd. Camilla stood there, frozen, her mind spinning. Someone wanted her son arrested. Someone set him up. But who and why? She looked back at the courthouse. The royal crest glinted in the sunlight. For the first time, she realized this wasn't just about drugs. This was something bigger. Asterisk. The old library smelled like dust and forgotten stories. Camilla arrived 10 minutes early. She walked through the aisles of tall bookshelves, her footsteps echoing on the worn wooden floor. The place was almost empty. Just a few students hunched over notebooks and an elderly man reading a newspaper. She found a table near the back, sat down, waited. Elena arrived exactly at noon. She didn't smile. She sat across from Camilla and placed a folder on the table. Her voice was low, barely above a whisper. What I'm about to tell you could put both of us in danger. But you deserve to know the truth. Camilla leaned forward. Who are you? I used to work for the Royal Guard, Intelligence Division. 6 months ago, because I couldn't stomach what they were doing, Elena opened the folder. Inside were photos, documents, names. Your son was targeted. Targeted by who? Elena pulled out a photograph. It showed a man in his early 30s. Handsome, clean-cut, expensive suit. This is Adrian Pembroke. He's a royal advisor, close to the prince. Very powerful, very connected. Camilla stared at the photo. I don't know him. Why would he target Thomas? Elena hesitated. Then she said, because of you. Camilla's blood turned to ice. What? You worked at the royal estate 15 years ago? Records department. You handled sensitive files. Do you remember? Camilla's mind raced. Yes, she'd worked there. It was just a clerk job. Filing documents, organizing records. She'd left when Thomas was 8 because the hours were too long. I remember, but I didn't do anything wrong. You didn't? Elena said. But you saw something. A file, a transaction, something that implicated Adrian Pembroke in illegal activity. You might not even remember it, but he thinks you do. Camilla shook her head. I swear I never saw anything like that. Elena's expression softened. It doesn't matter if you remember. He believes you're a threat, and he's been watching you for years. When Thomas got close to Marcus, Adrian saw an opportunity. He made sure Marcus asked your son to hold that bag. He made sure the Royal Guard found out. He set the whole thing up. Camilla's hands clenched into fists. Her nails dug into her palms. He destroyed my son's life to get to me. Yes, why not? Just come after me? 'Cause arresting you would draw attention? Questions, investigations. But arresting your son? It's personal. That breaks you. If you try to fight back, he can use Thomas as leverage. Camilla's vision blurred. Rage and fear twisted together in her chest. How do I stop him? Elena closed the folder. You find the file, the one you handled 15 years ago, proof of what Adrian did. It's the only way to clear Thomas and protect yourself. I don't even know what file it is. Think, go through your memories. Anything unusual, anything that stood out. Camilla pressed her hands to her face. 15 years. Thousands of files. Endless documents. But then, slowly, something surfaced. A name. A transaction report. She'd filed it in the wrong drawer by accident. She remembered because Adrian himself had come down to the records room the next day, furious, demanding to know where it was. She'd apologized. Fixed the mistake. Forgotten about it. Until now. There was something she said quietly. A report. Financial records. I filed it wrong. Adrian came looking for it. He was angry. Elena's eyes lit up. Do you remember what was in it? Oh, I didn't read it. I just filed it. Where? The estate. It's still there. In the archives. Elena leaned back, and that's where we start. But you need to understand. If we go after that file, Adrian will know. He'll come after you. After Thomas. After anyone who helps you? Camilla met her gaze. Her voice was steady now, strong. I don't care. I'm not letting my son rot in prison for something he didn't do. Elena nodded. Good then. We move tonight. The royal estate looked different at night. The grand stone walls seemed taller, the windows darker. Camilla stood at the back gate, her heart pounding, waiting. Elena had said she'd disable the security system at midnight. It was 11:58. Camilla's phone buzzed. A text from Elena. You're clear. 10 minutes. Move fast. She slipped through the gate. The gardens were silent. Moonlight cast long shadows across the perfectly trimmed hedges. She kept to the edges, moving quickly, her breath coming in short bursts. She knew this place. She'd walked these paths 1,000 times. But that was 15 years ago. Everything felt foreign now. The records building was separate from the main estate. A small stone structure tucked behind the east wing. She reached the door. Tried the handle. Locked. Elena had said she'd take care of it. Camilla waited. Seconds felt like hours. Then the lock clicked. The door swung open. Elena stood inside, holding a keycard. Hurry. They moved through the dark hallways. The air smelled like old paper and leather. Rows of filing cabinets lined the walls. Camilla led Elena to the back room, the archive section. She pulled open drawers, her hands shaking, searching. What year? Elena whispered. 2010. April, maybe May. They split up. Camilla's fingers flew through files. So many names. So many documents. Then she found it. A red folder. Financial transaction report. Adrian Pembroke's name was right there on the cover. She pulled it out. Opened it. The pages were old. Yellowed. But the numbers were clear. Payments. Large sums. Moving through offshore accounts. And at the bottom, a note. Funds allocated for unregulated pharmaceutical distribution. Drugs, Adrian. Pembroke had been funding drug operations for years, using royal resources, hiding it in plain sight. Camilla's hands trembled. This is it. Elena looked over her shoulder. Her face went pale. This is bigger than I thought. If this gets out, it doesn't just destroy Adrian. It brings down half the royal council. Good, Camilla said. They deserve it. A noise. Footsteps. Distant, but getting closer. Elena grabbed Camilla's arm. Someone's here. We need to go now. He ran. Back through the hallways, out the door. But as they reached the gardens, lights flooded the grounds. Camilla froze. Guards. At least 6 of them. Surrounding the building and standing at the front was Adrian Pembroke. He smiled. It was cold, cruel. Hello, Camilla. Her stomach dropped. Elena pulled her behind a hedge. Go, run. I'll distract them. No, go. Elena stepped out into the light. Hands raised. I'm the one you want. Let her go. Adrian's smile widened. We want both of you. But I appreciate the gesture. The guards moved in. Elena didn't fight. She let them cuff her. Camilla watched from the shadows, her heart breaking. Elena had sacrificed herself. For Thomas, Camilla clutched the folder to her chest. She turned and ran. Through the gardens, over the back wall, into the street. She didn't stop until she reached her car. Her hands shook so badly she could barely start the engine. She drove straight to Victor's office, pounded on the door until he opened it. He was still in his pajamas, confused. Camilla. What? She shoved the folder into his hands. This is the proof. Adrian Pembroke set Thomas up. He's been running drugs through royal channels for years. This file proves it. Victor opened the folder. His eyes went wide. Where did you get this? It doesn't matter. You need to use it now, before they come for me. Victor looked at her. Really looked at her. Then he nodded. I'll file an emergency motion in the morning. But Camilla, if this is real, you're in serious danger. Adrian won't let this go. She knew. She'd known the moment she took the file. But she didn't care. Thomas was innocent. and she was going to prove it. No matter what it cost. Asterisk, the courtroom was packed. News crews lined the back wall. Reporters scribbled notes. The story had exploded overnight. Royal advisor linked to drug ring. Innocent son framed. The headlines were everywhere. Thomas sat at the defense table, still in his gray jumpsuit, but his face looked different now. Hopeful. Camilla sat in the front row, directly behind him. Their eyes met. She mouthed, "It's going to be okay." He nodded. Victor stood. He'd worked through the night. The folder was now evidence. Copies had been sent to the press, to independent investigators, to the Royal Oversight Committee. There was no burying this. The judge entered. Everyone rose. He was an older man, stern-faced, silver-haired. He looked at the file in front of him, then at Adrian Pembroke, who sat stone-faced in the gallery surrounded by lawyers. Victor began. "Your Honor, we move to have all charges against Thomas Hartwell dismissed. The evidence shows conclusively that my client was not involved in any drug operation. He was deliberately targeted by Adrian Pembroke in an effort to silence his mother, Camilla Hartwell, who possessed knowledge of Mr. Pembroke's criminal activities." The prosecutor, a young woman in a sharp suit, stood. "Your Honor, the state acknowledges the new evidence and withdraws all charges against Mr. Hartwell." The courtroom erupted. Whispers, gasps, cameras flashing. The judge banged his gavel. "Order, order in the court." He looked at Thomas. "Mr. Hartwell, you are free to go. Charges dismissed." Thomas's legs nearly gave out. Camilla shot to her feet. She wanted to run to him, hold him, but the guards were already unlocking his cuffs. He turned, she pushed through the gate. They met in the middle. She wrapped her arms around him and felt him collapse into her. He was shaking, crying, "Mom, Mom, I'm sorry." "You have nothing to be sorry for," she whispered. "Nothing." Behind them, the judge spoke again. "As for Mr. Pembroke, a warrant is being issued for your arrest. Bailiff, take him into custody." Adrian didn't move. He sat perfectly still as the guards approached. His face was blank, empty. He looked at Camilla one last time. She met his gaze. She didn't flinch. The guards led him away. And just like that, it was over. Outside the courthouse, the sun was shining. Camilla and Thomas stood on the steps, surrounded by reporters shouting questions. Victor held up a hand. "No comments today. This family needs time." They pushed through the crowd, got into Victor's car, drove away from the chaos. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Thomas broke the silence. "What happens to Alina?" Camilla's chest tightened. Alina had been arrested. She was facing charges for breaking into the estate, but Victor was working on her case too. "She's going to be okay," Camilla said. "We'll make sure of it." Thomas nodded. He stared out the window. "I still can't believe it. All of this. Because of a file you didn't even remember." "No," Camilla said. "It happened because you were brave enough to trust me. And because good people like Alina were willing to fight." Victor glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "You did the impossible, Camilla. You went up against the most powerful man in the kingdom. And you won." She didn't feel like she'd won. She felt exhausted, hollowed out. But when she looked at Thomas, saw him safe, free, alive, she felt something else too. Relief, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of hope. 3 weeks later, Adrian Pembroke was sentenced to 20 years. The Royal Council launched an internal investigation. 6 more officials were implicated. The whole system was shaken. Alina was released. Charges dropped. She and Camilla met for coffee. They didn't talk about the case. They talked about normal things, books, weather, the future. Thomas went back to university. He finished his degree. Started his career. He called his mother every Sunday. Just like before, Camilla went back to her quiet life. But she was different now, stronger. She'd faced the worst, and she'd survived. She'd learned something that night in the estate, something she'd carry with her forever. When the people you love are in danger, you don't give up. You don't back down. You fight, no matter the cost, no matter the risk, because love is the one thing more powerful than fear, and in the end, love always wins.